Hello and welcome back to Work in Progress with Nicole Engelmann. I'm talking with other female business owners, having chats about their journey, what it's like being in business, running a business, and the challenges they encountered over the years, and also the wins and what they're proud of. And today I'm joined by Assil Skaiky, personal stylist, a fashion stylist, but also the founder of Mustadam. How do you explain it, Assil, actually? How would you explain it? I don't want to mess it up, and you have the right words for this.
Yes, of course. So I would say Mustadam is a fashion brand. It's quite unique because we have a rental process that combines a product with a service. So I'm a stylist, a full-time personal stylist, and that's really where the idea came from. So when you order your rental through the website, you can get the styling service with it, and I show up at the door with the rental product that you have selected. But very recently, I'm quite excited to also offer this by itself. We do have different ways you can get a rental without me coming to the home because sometimes you don't need it. You just want the piece for yourself. So you can get it through by rotation, so we can post it for you, or you can get it by a new app which is coming to London from September called Dress Up. So we do have different ways now.
Oh, that's exciting. Because I think the
Yeah,
last time we spoke, it was you literally going to the client's home.
yeah,
So that frees up your time, but also means you can help more people with this service.
definitely. Definitely.
Well, thank you again for joining. I said it off camera, but I'm obviously saying it now as well.
You're welcome.
It's been a while in the making. There were a
Yeah,
few hiccups along the way, but I'm glad that it's happening now.
for sure.
Can you tell us more about your journey, how it all got started, why you founded Mustadam?
Yeah, sure. So in 2017, I moved to London. I used to live in Wales and I always wanted to do fashion. I do come from a fashion background and, you know, couple of personal things kind of got me delayed, I would say. Sometimes you look at our journeys and we kind of compare them with other people who have kind of done it on time, but it's just one of those things you have to accept. So I was pretty late in the game, I would say. So in 2017, I moved to London and I thought, I've been quite unlucky because I told you this off camera. We discussed how everything started initially after graduating. I found it quite tricky and I found the industry quite brutal that coming out of university, I felt like you just get your first job in fashion and that's just how it works. Unfortunately, with my situation, it was very different. I got rejected by every single job I applied to because simply I didn't have, as they quoted, enough experience. But the idea is, but I've just graduated, so I obviously don't have enough experience. I went to university in Portsmouth, so it was about an hour and a half, let's say, between London and Portsmouth. So I would get on the coach at 5 a.m. to come into London to do an internship at 8 in the morning until, like, let's say 6, Monday to Friday, unpaid. And literally all I would do for them is buy them Starbucks. It was horrifying. So at some point I thought, you know what, like, forget this, I'm going moving back home. And I just worked like in retail for some time to make some money and I saved up to come to London. And this process took quite a long time. And I felt very, very, very frustrated. So having a couple of conversations with my friends in London working in luxury retail, they said, you know what, how about you start in luxury retail? And then because you want to have your own brand one day, obviously you want to sell something that you will create one day. And I thought, actually, this might be my way in. So I was very lucky to be recommended by my cousin's friend who worked in Harrods. I got a job in Harrods and I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm moving to London. It was such a big deal, 2017. And that's where it all began. I came from a world where it was very quiet in Wales, very quiet in Portsmouth, never lived in London before. I would just visit. And it was just this like crazy world, like, big city, big buildings. Everyone is just like on the go. Such a crazy experience for me when I look back. So I started to work in luxury retail and I started to build confidence selling like big items, really big pricing, working in diamonds. That's where I got recommended to for a job. And then eventually I tried different brands. I dipped into a bit of fashion, working for Prada. And then from diamonds to fashion, I started to really feel that like I'm going towards the right like way. And that's when I created a brand that is no longer existing. That was the first thing I ever tried. It was my name, just like you have Christian Dior. It was Assil Skaiky. It was very much all the textile work I did with my fashion degree. So I did fashion and textiles with business. And honestly, when I did it for the first 6 months, I felt like I literally do not have a special USP. There was nothing special about what I did. The big houses did it like Gucci. The premium houses did it like any kind of brand that already exists. So I felt really lost. And I thought, I don't really know what to do because this is my dream. But if everybody has this dream and everybody has created it, maybe I need to take a pause and like I need to think. So what I did is I closed it down. I thought this definitely ain't it. And from time to time, I was thinking about sports. I was thinking about so many different ideas, and none of them made it through. And one day I thought, you know what? I love clothes. Maybe I'm not meant to make clothes. Maybe I just want to like style the clothes. So why don't we discover this and kind of, dig through that? So I took a styling diploma and then COVID happened. But what was great is that I was working in luxury retail and it was very stressful. But getting on my styling diploma and being made furlough, which is you sit at home and you get a small salary, I actually had the time to do the diploma. So it was actually great to be furloughed in that time. The only downside of it was that I couldn't go out in the open and actually shoot with the team. But what we could do at the time is create our briefs, etc. Until it hit like around March time, we were allowed to eventually come out and wear masks and then start to actually put this into real life. And I really, really loved the course. And I was talking to my mom, and she said, "You know what, Asia, like, you've always loved clothes, like, you've always loved playing with clothes. Maybe it's styling and maybe it isn't a brand." I was like, okay, we never know. So, anyway, to make this story quite short and quick, eventually succeeded in styling. I set up my own styling services. I did a bit of editorial, which is like the magazine stuff. And I felt like, you know what, like it's great. But at the same time, I was very like underpaid sometimes. Well, most of the time when I began, it was not paid at all. You just had to get on set and you just do it for free. And, to be realistic, doing free work on top of standing physically in a luxury department store on your legs, it just became way too exhausting. And I was not young anymore. I was starting to get into like late 20s. So, it's this thing where my energy is getting burned and I'm not getting paid for styling. I thought, forget it. I'm going to set up my own styling services and see what happens. So eventually, that's where we get to where I discovered the solution to what I've created, which is Mustaram today. I started to get into rich people's homes who were comfortable with money, who were having like huge XX large wardrobes, from the smallest wardrobe you've seen to the largest wardrobe you can imagine. I worked with all of these people and they all had one thing in common. They all had piles of clothes that they do not wear. They don't touch. A couple of questions. When's the last time you wore it? 9 months ago, 2 years ago. To my shock, having discomfort and money unfortunately does this. You just don't really question if this is right or wrong in any way whatsoever. So I started to ask the why. And honestly, they just didn't seem to have much knowledge about, this being unsustainable for the environment. And that is really when I started to miss having my own products. And then we came to my birthday 2 years ago, and I still remember this like yesterday. And I remember thinking, I really want to buy a dress and I really want to look special on this birthday. And I went to Selfridges and I saw this beautiful hand beaded dress in Versace, but it was £5,000. And I thought, am I going to be one of those clients that I just worked with? Like, to get the 5,000, first of all, I wouldn't pay £5,000. Second of all, I didn't have £5,000. And the third thing, even if I had the £5,000, would I spend it on a dress? Absolutely not. Why? Because first of all, I know it's only going to be worn once. My culture is super glamorous. Like, we all dress up day and night. So imagine for your birthday, you want to look even extra glam. So this is the kind of stuff you get. And I was so turned off by fast fashion that it was just not my thing anymore. So one night I go home and I thought, I'm just going to make it. Like, seriously, I'm just going to make it. Let's see what I can come up with. And because I missed having a brand and I missed designing, I was like, let me just design my birthday dress. And I took a piece of it's like a corset top. And I remember just chopped off the shoulders and I just stitched it with a long skirt and I added a slit. And I thought, how can we glam this up? I went to the market and I bought feathers. I love gold. So I just thought, I'm going to play around with some beading. Let's see if I should do gold, silver, or should I just do gold? And honestly, that is what Bella in my collection is today. I made that dress and I thought, I'm just going to wear it and have fun and just take loads of cute pictures with my friends. And this is how it was born. That's what led on to my collection today. It really wasn't planned that this will become a brand. What happened that night is when the girls asked me, where is it from? And I said, I customized it. Obviously, I didn't say I made it. It's kind of customized because this is previous pieces, right? I just stitched a top and a skirt together and I created the look. But then that's really when I started to think, okay, well, if it got some attention, why don't I create similar pieces where it fits like a cohesive collection? And then because I'm in styling, I understand style personalities. I knew that this will fit the glamorous girl. If I make a different one that will fit the classic girl, then maybe I should do another one, which is maybe skirt and something else. Eventually, it took about a year. Honestly, when I made the collection, it wasn't really a business. You're just using your skills to create something that looks good. It took a whole year for me to discover this is what I want to do. But then you realize you have no business skills. You now have to set up a website. I did a photo shoot. I look back on like now, I'm like, it was just I made the model stand at the background. That's all it was. Had no content creation skills or anything like that. So I say Mustaram has been running for a year, but really this birthday idea I just explained to you, making my dress and everything, this was like this October coming, it'll be 3 Octobers ago. So the idea was born, then I played around with it, then I made a collection. But really and truly to say how long has it been as a business, I would literally tell you 6 months. So, it's a journey. It's crazy how so many things lead to something you would have imagined. Because before I had the idea of let's do a brand. I did it and I was like, I don't want this. But this, I wasn't planning it and then it became a brand. So it's crazy.
Yeah, no, sometimes it's really surprising how things happen, and a birthday kind of triggers an idea and a thought, and just gives you some inspiration. It's like, oh, this might be my thing.
100%. So yeah, today I'm grateful because I get to live my dreams. But honestly, the challenges that come with it are just horrifying. But when you discover what is that thing that ticks for you and you realize that is what I want for the rest of my life, it is this, you've got to die for it. I swear to you. Yeah.
No, I get that. What are some of the challenges that you've encountered in the last, 6 months or 3 years
um
setting this up?
you have to realistically think about life financially. Like I used to earn well in luxury retail. I had to quit because it wasn't realistic to go to work full time, then be a stylist, then trying to see if this is a thing where it does become a brand. So I had to really pick my hard. I think everything is hard. You just have to pick your hard. So I thought, retail will mean I'm standing on my legs all day, even though I'm going to have a great salary because commission was great. But then I thought, maybe I'll earn less as a stylist, but then I become free. I can set my own hours. I can have my own schedule. I can see whoever I want to see whenever I want to see. But then you've got things like when you're in a company, they pay you holiday, and then you start to see that paycheck like be less and less and less and less. So that was a challenge. The biggest one is financial. I had to get out of where I was living and move back in with my parents. I had to sell my car. And when you're getting older in my culture and you're not getting married, you're not having babies, that for me is the biggest challenge. So forget money is different now, but also you feel like you're the odd one out. So you've got to fight this battle every day, especially that now I'm under their roof and I'm a big girl who's in her 30s. But then I want long-term happiness. I don't want short-term happiness. So in order to, be able to have the big dream, there's so much on the way you've got to get rid of. Like, it has to go. And then another challenge I would say is losing friends who don't really get it, having to put people in a schedule, they don't like it. And lastly, I would say overall, your mental health is questioning constantly, like, am I capable? Am I capable? Is this gonna work? Because I built for months and months and months, and then all of a sudden I'm like, who the hell do I think I am? Like, I really think I'm gonna be Gucci one day or something. And then the other side of me, it's like, of course you will, because look how hard you're working, and so there is incredible challenges when it comes to having something like this. But again, I say it is so worth it, because I think forever, some of us look for a dream. We might be alive, but we're actually dead. And that is exactly what I don't want to live like. I see people who are extremely miserable. They wait around to go on holiday, because when they're on holiday, they're happy. For me, I'm stressed, yes, but when I wake up, I'm freaking happy every day. Why? Because I get to do something that when I look back at 9-year-old me or 7-year-old me, I remember back in Lebanon, I used to play on the balcony. I used to have these Barbie dolls in a box, and I used to cut the pieces and pin them and dress them. That girl, when I'm in my studio here, that girl is her, you know? But then when I'm like styling, I'm like, oh yeah, I just have to make this money. I really have to go to this client's house because I need to make that paycheck. I realized you only get to do it once. Like, we do this life once. Like, why are we not going to push boundaries?
It's one of those things that I think is recurring in every conversations I've had so far on and off the podcast, is that people obviously struggle with the imposter and like, who do you think I
Yeah.
am, kind of thing. But also the freedom part. I love what I'm doing, and I don't want to be in a job that I hate and dreading Mondays and stuff like that.
Mm,
And it's the same for me. I work way more than I would in a 9 to 5 job, but it doesn't always feel like work, because I
100%.
love what I do. And it makes a big difference when you're happy, even though you're probably working more than your normal
Yeah.
40-hour week.
Definitely, you'll work more. I think there's this really funny meme on Instagram, and it's like, you think I left a 9 to 5 to work less? And it's like, I work 24/7, and it's true. But
Yeah.
then you do have, with time, I've struggled a lot with it recently because I was in the hospital. You have to eventually learn that you're going to do this for the rest of your life. So whether you make it in 5 years or 15, that's okay. It's coming and you're doing really well, but there will be those days where you need to take those breaks. And I've learned the hard way. So some people learn faster, some people it takes them longer to understand. Like, everyone tells me, my partner, my friends, my family, please have Sunday off. Please, please, like, try and relax. It never worked until I went to the hospital.
So you kind of got burnout.
Yeah, I got
Is that,
burnout
yeah.
because I didn't take a break for 1 year straight. I'll
Hmm.
go if I'm going somewhere with friends, my phone is glued to me. If I'm going away for the weekend, the laptop is in the luggage. Like, there is not really time off to switch the laptop and not think about anything for 2 days. I didn't know what that meant, Like, I think the word is I'm addicted. It's
Hmm.
obviously good addiction, but then you realize that at one point you have to. Like, Monday just gone, bank holiday, I spent it all day in bed because my body was screaming tired. And usually I don't listen, but now I have to listen because there's no other way.
That's the danger of having your own business. And when you love what you do, you want to succeed, you want to make sure that you can pay your rent the next month and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So you think, okay, if I take this time off, I might miss something, or I might not be quick enough to answer someone and they go somewhere else. So it's really hard to find that balance and to actually, say to yourself, okay, I'm putting down the phone, it goes on do not disturb,
Hmm.
and I'm not looking at it until tomorrow 12 or
That's it.
whatever. And the world won't stop without me.
Exactly. Exactly. It takes time. And I think it takes
Yeah.
practice. And I think being almost 2 years of having the idea and growing and becoming a business, at the beginning, you can say it was a hobby, then eventually. And then until I registered myself, that's when it really kind of like, oof, this is serious. Yeah, I
This is
think
real.
now, because I've been through the hobby into a business, into running it and thinking, like you just said, it's okay. The world is not stopping. Like everything is going to carry on, Asil, but you're taking rest. And then when you come back, you're more fresh than ever. Now I'm so glad I finally got there, but I think it took a bit of a long time. I think people need to realize it sooner than me, you know?
Yeah, and I think generally it is, I mean, to, quote a podcast, it's a work in progress.
Hmm.
You will have probably in a couple of years' time, you might be at the limit again because you kind of forgot
Yeah.
and it's getting busy. So it isn't that the work-life balance, once you've realized you need it,
Hmm.
that's going to be there forever. There will be times where you probably, okay, I've worked a bit too much again. Maybe I should take tomorrow off for,
I agree.
sometimes it doesn't even need to be the whole day or a whole weekend. Just take 2 hours of your day, go walk in a park or go for yoga
Yeah,
or whatever you floats your boat, if it's cinema or watching Netflix or whatever, or literally just cooking something nice for
I
yourself and
agree.
not thinking about work. That's already a bit of rest, just to switch off and not constantly, have I done this? I need to do this, or checking my emails and doing that. I think that's the hard part, to not constantly think about it as well. Even if you don't do something, when it's on your mind, you're still not switched off. So you're still kind of working, even if you're not working.
Yeah, this is it. I think that's the thought that goes to bed with you, what you just explained. So now I have this like kind of winding down like plan. And also now, it sounds funny, I stopped paying for a gym and I've invested more money into Pilates because Pilates is expensive. So look what I did. I took on Pilates, which is expensive, and I took it in a package. And once you book your class, if you cancel your class, your actual like one number of class will go. So I've done a routine, and once my Pilates class is booked, I know I have to leave. It doesn't matter how important the email is, it doesn't matter how whatever crazy busy the schedule is. I've got to get on my put my gym gear on, and I've got to go to the class, and I've got to leave the house. And when I go on the phone on the train, I'm listening to music, or when I'm in the car, I'm listening to a podcast, and that is it. I get to my Pilates class, which is 50 minutes. That's almost an hour. And then I come back home and I'm like, we have to make good food now and we need to sleep. So I tricked myself into paying an expensive class because I know if I don't go, I'm going to lose out on money. It's like a little trick for myself that no way, girl, you're going. And I'm doing it at like 5, 6, 7:30. So you know you can work all day and there's no excuses. You've got all day.
Yeah.
But do you know how easy it is for me to do a 9 to like 11 p.m.? It's insane. But you tell me to go to work 9 to 11, I'll have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy?
It's the losing track of time because you love what you're doing as
Yeah.
well. It's one of those things I used to do before COVID. I had a personal trainer
Hmm.
because I knew if I just have the gym membership, I'm not going,
Hmm.
because that's 20
You
quid.
see?
But having a PT, 100, 200 quid a month, and there's someone actually waiting. I actually did it with someone else, so it was a group thing.
Yeah.
Well, two people. It's a group.
Yeah.
So like someone is waiting, and if you don't show up, you're disappointing someone, not just yourself.
100%.
For some reason, it seems to be easier to disappoint yourself than others,
It's
which is
crazy,
also
right?
something we should work on.
It's really crazy when
Yeah.
you realize that.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of working on your business or success, I know that recently you kind of got featured with Simon Squibb's channel.
Yes.
From the outside, that sounded to me like a success. I don't know if some people might not know that listen to
Yeah.
this. Simon Squibb is someone who is helping other business owners platform their ideas in their businesses. He's an investor. I think he's a speaker as well. He's often at conventions and a content creator as well. So he's quite
Yeah.
successful. And I think he's the founder of Help Bank. That's what it's called. So you can kind of platform your business and get, spread the word. So how did you go about that actually?
I would say the word is desperate. I was just so desperate for help. And the reason why I went to do it, because every time I looked for for a mentorship, I promise you, people are asking for 6, 7,000. This is for someone who, I'm not talking about anyone. I'm talking about someone who's had 10 years experience minimum to kind of take my idea. And I don't mind sharing my idea here because it's already shared to the world. 210,000 people have seen the idea. Because before I pitched to Simon, I pitched 6 months before he posted it. So before I went to pitch, I was scared someone would steal my idea. And I don't know if you know Gary Vee, but Gary Vee puts you in this kind of way where your idea can never be stolen because your passion and your hard work towards this idea, yes, someone can come and copy, but the dedication is never going to be the same. So I kind of took this leap of faith and I went to pitch to Simon because my idea is like a very elevated idea of Mustadam currently. The way I ship, not ship, the way I deliver the piece to the client's house by, a stylist, I wanted to introduce the service to hotels. But I knew this idea is bigger than me and it's bigger than Mustadam where it is currently. So I went to pitch because I knew this is something that needs like pretty much technology, an app, a team, someone who can deliver on the spot. Because the way I wanted to kind of pitch it is how we are in a big city right now and how we're getting like Deliveroo and Uber Eats and this like very fast life. I want to kind of introduce it to a hotel because, or hotels, and eventually, because the idea of overpacking is something I saw in my styling services in my clients' homes. And I have this service that says, like, travel and pack. And it's this idea of teaching you how you don't need to overpack. So I wanted to introduce an idea that would bring a solution when you're traveling from city to city or you're simply just staying the night somewhere. You don't need to pack your evening wear. We can bring it to you. Okay. And the idea is to have a sample in the wardrobe. When you're at the hotel and you open the wardrobe, you see a sample. And then you think, oh, this is beautiful. Like, what's this brand about? And then you scan a QR code. The QR code will bring up the app with all our pieces. The collection hopefully will be elevated. It will cater to lots of different age groups and it will have lots of different designs to cater to someone who wants something a little bit glamorous to someone who wants super glamorous and super fancy. And the idea is when you order your rental, we can come to your door at the hotel in 1 hour. So that's really my big dream. I started small, which is offering this service, but I just had this like vision one day where I went to um, my friend's wedding and I wanted to wear Bella, which is feathers and beads and everything. And I thought to myself, God, I'm taking a small suitcase. Like, how am I gonna squish such a beautifully handmade piece in my luggage? Like, that's not gonna work. So I ended up putting Bella in a garment bag and I was holding it. And then I took an Uber and it was just this like really complicated thing because I just didn't want to ruin like all of this stuff has been made by hand. So I thought, you know what? When I was in the hotel, I was like, imagine this is a service as an express service that will come to you. So it is all offline right now. It's called Mustadam Express. And I've pitched it to Simon and I'm getting a mentorship from Health Bank, which I haven't really shared with anybody yet. So what will come from this? I don't know. But all I know is I will get the right guidance to lead me on to what is really meant for me. I think sometimes we have a plan and God looks at us and he laughs. I always believe in that. So I used to get really upset when things didn't work out for me at some point. But then when I reflect back, I'm like, oh, I see why it happened. So, I say I'm getting a mentorship. I say I want to do Mustaram Express. I say all these things. But really, what's around the corner, we don't really know. I've discovered a dream, and that's really all it is. I'm gonna, continue in the steps of having this dream come alive, I hope. But honestly, Nicole, realistically speaking, you need a lot of money. You can start small and you can branch out, but eventually, if you do have like something that is like Mustaram Express in comparison to Mustaram right now, I can keep Mustaram running happily. But to really get into something like Mustaram Express that needs an app and contacts for the hotels and funding and investment and marketing and running ads, like, it's like a very big thing. So I do think sometimes, okay, it's a dream, but it's a dream that, like we were mentioning, that I can take my time building. I can take the breaks I need without breaking down and being in hospital. And let's just see what life has like in plan for me. So we can put the plans in and you just have to do the rest and see what happens.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well. You literally
Yeah.
you don't know, like you said, and hindsight is a good thing, but it's hindsight. You won't know before, right? So I'm really excited for you and how this is going to work and the mentorship and everything. Can't wait to see
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
happening in that regard.
Same.
And like you said, I think it's such a big difference from, when you have a service-based business and it's literally just you, like it's for me, versus when there's a product, an actual physical product, and then obviously you want to make a whole service out of it that kind of caters to, like you said, a chain of hotels. That means you need people, you need careers, all those kind of things, like you said, apps. So it's a lot of work and a lot of thought that needs to be behind us compared to just a stylist and do the personal service.
Because if you are ordering right now, the moment you place that order, there'll be a system in the back happening where that piece needs to be arranged, unpacked, be put onto an Uber. Whether you pick with a stylist or not with a stylist, there's that extra cost. Maybe you don't want it. I believe most people will probably not take it because our pieces are very beautifully hand beaded and they are gorgeous and they are so beautiful and attractive that you don't actually need to style it with a lot of jewelry. It's like the jewelry is kind of already on it. So technically speaking, we don't actually need. But some people like it, so you get to choose. And there'll need to be members like me in the team where she has the knowledge of talking to the client about how this piece might be worn. If she's going to a conference and she's taking the suit, she might be very overwhelmed and she might just pay that extra charge to get the advice. And then if you're not getting the advice, then we are arranging like an Uber style courier that's going to come to your door and that's going to drop it and that's going to take payment. Or I'm thinking, but do we already take payment? Do you know what I mean? There's so much behind it that I need the right guidance. And I think recording podcasts like today and talking that I wish to do this next, I was very afraid, and I was very afraid to pitch to someone like Simon Squibb because I knew he would post me. And now I have to say to you, I think when he eventually posted 6 months later, the whole of 6 months, first 3 months, every other day I'm crying. Oh my God, he gave my idea to the world. Oh my God, he told the world my idea. Oh my God, I don't know what's happening next. Then I thought to myself, you know what? You cried for 2 hours in that toilet in Virgin Hotel downstairs before you were even able to speak to a camera, rather than dwell on what's going to happen next and if the world is going to steal your idea. Why don't you just say, I'm really brave. I'm so proud of how brave I was. I swear to you, before doing the pitch, because it's only 60 seconds talking to a camera, once you do it, you are never able to do it again. Every person is only allowed to do it once. Before doing that, I was texting my boyfriend in the toilet in that hotel for 2 hours. I'm saying I'm not doing it. I changed my mind. And he's like, Assil, come on. You have to, you have to, you have to, you have to. And I'm texting him and he's giving me this, come on, baby, you got this. You can do it. And finally I went. I was standing in front of that camera for like 10 minutes. I'm like, no, no, I'm ready to go. And then I'm getting myself to come back. Eventually, I did it. And I swear it was hours of being there. The bravery it took, I cannot put this in words. You've got to be there yourself to pitch, to understand that fear. I was like, I don't care. I am so desperate. What am I going to lose? I'm going to talk like really crap. I just don't submit it because once you press and you record, you have to fill the form. And if you leave without filling that form, technically your pitch is not like submitted. I was like, it's fine. Like if I talk crap and I messed it up and I rambled, I swear to you, in 56 seconds, I was done. I said who I am. I said my Instagram page, and it was amazing. And then it was like, why was I scared? You really have to push yourself to do something that scares you. This was one of, I think, maybe the most scary thing I've ever done in my life is pitch to Simon Squibb. And once it was done, I felt like I am so alive on the inside that no words could describe it. And I promise you, for 6 months in the end, when he never shared it, I was like, I don't care. I know I did it. That's exactly the point, is that I know how scared I was to do it and I did it. And now that I did it and he hasn't shared me, it's fine. And then one day, I'm just like somewhere, and then I see myself getting tagged. And I thought it's one of those spams that you get randomly tagged by random pages. And I said, no, wait, I recognize this black and blue. I recognize this. I click it, and I swear to you, I was so shocked that he posted me. Nothing. It was so up and down. It was like 100 to 0, because you get like posted, and when you accept the collaboration on your feed, all your friends and family and all your contacts in the industry, they're messaging you and they're telling you this is amazing. And I was like, okay, great. Then my dopamine went woo all the way down, because you're like, okay, you just shared my idea to the world. My idea is, for as far as the research that I've done, doesn't exist. That's why I was so afraid. And then when we did this, and then I got shared, and then they didn't contact me, I hit rock bottom and I removed it from my feed, because I was like, my idea is shared to the world and I'm not going to get the help. So what's the point? Anyway, so I was in hospital. The day I was in hospital, I was admitted to hospital because I had something wrong with my heart. I was extremely burned out. And that's when I discovered my burnout is because of the 1 year of not taking a break. I was 12 hours in A&E, and I just look at my phone because I just got so bored in the end. I wanted to start checking emails and doing all of this. I watched every single episode on Netflix. I caught up with every friend. And in the end, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go and do some emails. I don't care. It was like 11:30 in the night. And I just see a name, and it was like, it's so and so from Help Bank. Thank you for pitching. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So we got on a call, we scheduled a call, we got on a call where they talked about a mentorship. They said, we do not guarantee that we'll be able to help you succeed in the idea you have pitched to us, but what we can guarantee you is that we're going to offer the help that we can, and that comes with membership, putting you in the right contacts in the industry for whatever you need. So for example, if I need an app, hopefully we can talk to the right person, see how much it'll cost. If I need funding to manufacture, we're going to see the right manufacturers to help me, and then we're going to see that cost. Now, it is up to me to go and pitch to an investor to say, I want so and so amount. Let's just say, for the sake of this idea, £500,000, right? So, like I said to you, I'm no longer afraid to talk about it. If it's not meant to be mine, that's absolutely okay. But I hope I can get on a podcast in 5 years and be like, I am the founder of Mustaram Express that is now in multiple hotels in London. But again, you just don't know, right? It's the idea of, you just have to make the next step towards it and then see what comes.
And that's the thing. If you don't talk about it and you hide it, who's going to know? Who's going to be able to help you? They don't even know this idea exists and that you need
Yeah.
help. So talking about it, yes, there's always the possibility that someone takes the idea or part of it and kind of uses it because they already have funding, or they're bored and have a lot of money
Yeah.
at their disposal. But like you said, there's only one you, and you have that passion and that dream. So it's a different thing as well.
100%. And there's so many
And
of
they don't
us in
have
the
that
world.
backstory.
Yeah, there's so
Yeah,
many
and they
of
don't
us
have
in
that
the world.
backstory. Yeah.
I'm sure if this works out, there's going to be other people that come and do this idea. Think about it, right? Multiple makeup artists in the world, multiple doctors in the world, multiple personal stylists in the world. This business
Yeah.
of delivering fast to your home, everyone's doing it. So I'm not going to be the first person. Also, there is already a company in London that delivers to the door like this. But what I want to do is bring it to hotel bedrooms. That is the
Yeah.
only difference I'm doing. But yeah, it's
Mm.
unique. And I'm sure I'm not going to be the first either. I don't think you'll ever be a first in anything. But it's just nice to, you know, come up with a concept that makes you feel alive. And because that's what it does for me, I want to stick around to see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. So is that getting over the nerves and pitching, is that something you're really proud of? Or is there something else that really sticks out for you to be
Yeah.
proud about?
I think getting on camera doing content this year has been a huge success. I think pitching has been a crazy, like I would say it's like roller coaster of emotions. I was so excited walking to the hotel, Virgin Hotel, to do it, and then the moment I'm in that lobby to stand in front of that camera, it's so tiny, like you would not think anything. The way my feelings just kind of like went down, and I was like, "There's no way I'm doing it." The fact that I crossed that barrier is crazy. So I think not even just in business. I think if you want to grow as a person, if you want to challenge yourself, like make a list of all the things that this year you think you are like ready to do and tick one box, like maybe every 3 months go and do something that scares you. It could be anything. It could be a sport. It could be jumping from like the plane and doing all these crazy cool activities. It could just be doing something different that might make you feel alive. Like I want to work with kids. I want to work with kids who have needs. I want to take this fashion idea and having a fashion brand one day so much bigger. I want to like go back home and I want to bring maybe a fashion school to my community where there are children, there are girls like me who were like how I was 7 and I was playing on my balcony. If I didn't come to the UK, there's no way I'd be living the way I'm living right now. So what I want to do is bring that opportunity for girls like me who have that passion, who can take a fashion course that is not going to be a degree that puts you in £25,000 debt, you know. I want to do something way more for women. This is why I make pieces that empower women because my story is not just about clothes. My story goes all the way back to how we like lived and how we kind of like where we came from in Lebanon. Women didn't really have opportunities. I want to go back home and bring opportunities to those girls that are growing up with no money and they don't really have a way out like I did. I had a way out to come to the UK. There's so many girls back home in Lebanon that do not dream about the life that I live now. So I want to do more than that. And how do you do that? With money. So through my success, I hope I can take that money and do something with it, not just make it mine. And go and buy bags and cars and and that is it, you know? Like I want to do so much more than that. I want to go back home. Not just home. Like doesn't who knows how big your success gets, right? I think the more you have, the more you can do. And I think really think about it. Why do I do what I want to do? Not just because I love clothes, but for so many other things I want to not necessarily fix because I think some problems are too big for you to fix, like poverty, for example. But if you're taking a part of it, how amazing are you going to feel when you reach 80 and you're like, look at what I've done? That's what I want to do. I want to be 80 and I want to do that.
I love that. And that's the thing. Every small thing has a ripple effect.
Yeah.
So you having the opportunities you have now means that you want to provide those opportunities or give those opportunities back to girls in your country as well, having dreams. And maybe they don't even realize what kind of dreams they can have
100%.
because they don't see someone else doing this. And then you could be that kind of thing. It's like, oh, if she can do something like that, I could maybe do this. Because I love, it doesn't even need to be fashion, right? It could be science or
Yeah.
whatever. It could literally be anything that they think, oh, I can't do this, but then they see you achieving stuff.
Yeah, I went back home this summer and I felt it. Maybe when I was younger, I imagined it. And now I had a business, the styling one, and now this. I didn't go home for 4 years. And I always had this feeling. But this summer, I went home and I felt it. I felt the girls waiting around to get married. Why? Because the husband can provide, because they don't have skills to work. But then when you ask her about her dreams, she says to you, I don't know. And that's what Simon does. He goes on the streets of London and he says to you, what is your dream? People in this country, they're chasing the paycheck. People in my country, the girls, they chase the husband. And it's so sad to still be in 2025 waiting around at 21 years old, just trying to wait around for the guy that can provide. Why? It's not their fault. They don't have opportunities. There's no money. You just wait around for the guy that is going to have the money to give you a home. You raise the kids and you just take it and you live for the rest of your life. So that is the freedom that I get. I get to not do that because I have the freedom of being here, getting a job, making money that led on to starting a business, that led on to etc., to opportunities like Simon Squibb one day that could put me on the right mentorship, that could give me that $1 million or £1 million company that I dream about. So you really have to ask yourself why. Why do you have the dream? The dream isn't just because I want to make clothes. Absolutely not. Because I tell you now, even though I love making clothes, the last thing I do in my business is make the clothes, because I don't have time to make the clothes now. I have to realistically go and run the business to make it happen, to market, to make social media content, to do, as you know, because you do this. So it's funny because now I do the least thing I enjoy, but I don't mind because eventually I'll get the bigger goal.
I
Yeah,
love that.
thank you.
And I guess that's a great way to end the first part.
Yeah,
Thank you for joining.
you're welcome. Really
I can't
enjoyed.
wait for the second. Yeah, I can't wait for the second
Me
part.
too.
And for everyone else who's listening and watching, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this as much as we did. And stay tuned for the second part. I talk to you soon, guys.
Amazing.